Was that my cue, Thomas? Good to go. Good deal. Good deal. Good morning, everyone. This is Area Mays with Let's Talk About Real Estate. And thank you so much for tuning in. We've been off the air for about a month and has enjoyed the month of July. And now we're back in session and ready to give you all as much information that we can today within the time frame about real estate. And you know what we call real estate generational wealth. And we definitely want to promote new home buyers. So buyers who want to buy a home, we definitely want to encourage you. We have Ruth Phillip here on the line with us from Huntington Bank, and she's going to be telling you all about all the good programs that she has and then your procedure of how to prepare to purchase a home. So we are excited that you all are joining with us. We know some factors that you all need to be sure to be looking at when you're getting ready to purchase a home, and that is being sure that your credit is up to par, being sure to get prepared for purchasing a home. When you get ready to purchase a home, it takes a lot of preparation. And Ruth is going to get into that with us a little bit later. And then, of course, when you get ready to sell a house, it takes some preparation there too. You want to be sure that you've gotten your house up to par and has did some upgrading, updating. If there's rotten wood and things like that, you want to be sure and take care of those things before putting your house on the market. And especially now in this market that we're in, because it's not a very aggressive seller's market right now. We have a lot of houses that's sitting on the market. So buyers have a lot of choices that they can select from. So you want to make sure that your house is in top-notch condition. Here in the Mid-South, we have the medium income, I'm not income range, housing range of the houses that's on the market, and it's typically and within about $300,000 is what the medium range is. And buyers have a lot of negotiation power when there's a lot of houses that's sitting on the market. So if you in the market for looking to purchase a home soon, prepare yourself. Get ready to purchase a home and do all the things that it takes to get required for you to get pre-approved for purchasing a house. And the loan approval, prepare for that. If you got debt that you want to pay off, be sure and do that. But if you have credit cards and things, do not close the account, but just getting as much information. And then if you interested in knowing what you may need to do to prepare to purchase a home, you can always call Ruth Phillip and she can give you some good nuggets about what to do to get prepared. And she has some paperwork too that she can email to you that can give you a lot of information about getting prepared for purchasing a home. Steps for buying a house. These are very important. Getting ready to purchase a home, you first want to get your loan approval. So a lot of time when people get ready to purchase a home, they want to just jump out there and just start looking at houses. We do not recommend that. We recommend that you get with your loan officer. And like I said, Ruth Phillips with Huntington Bank is very good, a good loan officer to get with. She cares about her home buyers, her clients, and she takes the time to explain to them what you need to do and how to do it. Once you get your pre-approval, then that's when you want to find a real estate agent. If you hadn't already connected with the real estate agent, you can always feel free to call me. And then once you've gotten your pre-approved and got with the realtor, you narrow down what your criteria are, what you're looking for, the location. Location is very important. Which school district you may want your kids to go to. If you're retiring, some people want to know, is there a hospital nearby? So there's a lot of factors that determine where you may want to look for a house at. And then once you've given your realtor all that you are looking for that meets your criteria, then the realtor goes back and forth with emailing you and texting you listings that may be available. And then once you found your house, then you can start your negotiation process. That's when the realtor fills out the offer and we see if we can get you under contract. And once we get you under contract, then you get ready to close. And at that time, once you're under contract, you have a closer involved. The lender will be more actively involved with the process. So a lot goes into it, but typically it only takes about 30 days to get your clear to close. So within about 30 days, you can get your keys. So you want to prepare, and it's in 30 days sometimes is not long to a lot of people. So you want to be prepared. You want to be sure to know your exit strategy of wherever you may be and what you need to do in the process, and being sure to save some money. That's very important. You know, a lot of people may think, well, I can get in a house and don't have any money. That's not completely so. You've got to have some money for your appraisal, your home inspection, your earnest money. You got to have money for moving, for getting your new utilities turned on. So there may be some benefits. There may be some down payment assistance and things like that, or you may even get a 100% loan, but you still want to have some money set aside so that you can move with ease. You can move so that you're not so overly stressed. So preparing yourself and having money saved up is a very, very good thing to help to make the process a whole lot less stressful. And then if you're getting ready to sell a house, I'm here lately. I've been putting houses on the market pretty often. I've got about 3 listings appointment here, one today and 2 tomorrow, that people are selling their houses. So when you get ready to sell your house, you want to be sure that you have talk with the realtor, ask the realtor to do a CMA. That's a comparable market analysis. Ask the realtor to come to the house and tell you what need to be done in for preparation for the house. Being sure that your house is up to par, clean, and rotten wood replaced and things like that, because you have to understand when you are seller as well that if a buyer is buying their house, and in this market, you can't get a house less expensive. And when I say less expensive, you can't even get a house in Mississippi for less than $100,000. So you're looking at about $200,000 to $300,000. And if that's the case, sometimes that's the biggest investment that a person will make, and they're putting their money out to purchase your home. So they want to be sure that they're getting a very good, desirable house, and you want to be sure that you selling them a very good, desirable house. So the preparation is so important. Right now, it's taking about 30 to 90 days to get a house sold once you put it on the market. But when you get your house prepared, you want it to be one of the houses that buyers will come and look at and will have an interest in it before they even go look at the other house. So preparing your house to get it for sale is very, very important. Ruth is going to talk with you all about for buyers. Ruth is going to talk with you all about interest rates and what's going on with that right now, and she'll probably confirm that the rates are still not as low as they was a few years ago. However, we don't know what the future holds. So if you do have to accept the rate at what it is now, keep in mind that keep your credit up to par, because you can always refinance. So you got a lot of options in real estate when it comes to purchasing. And a lot of people says this a good time to purchase a home. Anytime is a good time to purchase a home. So we do recommend home ownership, which I call generational wealth. So we highly recommend it. If you had to compare that with renting a house, you probably would be paying more for rent now than you may be paying for a house note. So I always look at that option in the comparable of which one is going to be more feasible for you. And then you paying into something that's going to be yours, that you're going to be an equity in. And if you don't know what equity is the difference between what you owe on your mortgage and what your house value. So you can do a lot with equity. You can take out HELOC loans with equity. That's like a credit line that you can use for various reasons. And just because you're a homeowner, you can take out that. Of course, you got to pay it back, but it can be as a separate note, and it's not probably not as much as it would have been if you was going to take out a separate loan. It may not be as much there. So a lot of benefits that you can take care of that with that, whether it be a line of credit or HELOC and things like that, that you can take care of if you're a homeowner. So having equity in your home is very, very good and very, very beneficial. So there's a lot of factors with being a homeowner. It's very, very, very good, and we encourage it. Like I said, we call it generational wealth, and generational wealth is wealth that can be passed down from one generation to the next generation. So it's really a blessing to be a new homeowner. It's a blessing if you have a home to sell. That's a blessing, because that's a way of getting more money to move on to your next step in life. So a lot of things is so beneficial from being a homeowner, whether you're a buyer or seller. And we're available for you Whenever you get ready to move forward, or you just want to talk and have a realtor consultation, feel free to give me a call. If you want to have a lender's consultation, you can give Ruth a call. But we're here to help you, to educate you, to help you to make your next step into new home ownership, or if you want to sell your house, to help you with the next step of what it takes to get your house sold. So, with that being said, we have Ruth Phillips here with us from Huntington Bank. It used to be Cadence Bank. A lot of you all have remembered from Cadence. They've now changed their name. They probably have some new products. So she's going to tell us what all available that they have to provide to you all, and what you all can take advantage of. If she has some down payment assistance available in Mississippi or Tennessee, she'll let you all know that. Your qualification for a loan, she'll let you know that. But she has a lot of information. Ruth has been in the mortgage business for a long time. She's very knowledgeable of the process, and she wants to help you if you want her to help you. So right now we're going to have Ruth talk with you all about the financing of your new home. Ruth, you muted. Okay.
I'm sorry. Good morning, everybody in area. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share in the journey to home ownership. Did I get myself unmuted? I did.
Yes, you did. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, I am real excited about this morning because as Aria has said, I am passionate when it comes to home ownership. I actually think that if you're not going to own a home, then you're going to be paying for somebody else's generational wealth to be built. So, in my opinion, you might as well build it yourself with your own family and by owning your own home. Owning a home is a very easy and simple process. It doesn't get any easier than this. A lot of times people think they have to jump through all of these hoops and all of these things, and their loan officer did such a great job for them. Yes, we do. But however, you've done all the work yourself. You're the one who kept a job. You're the one who's been a good steward over your finances by having workable credit. You're the one who has kept their funds intact. And I was glad that Aria has said that so many people think they can get into a house and don't need any money. Well, you do need money because you have to put earnest money up. You have to pay for the appraisal. We highly recommend that you get a home inspection and all those things there in a termite inspection. Those are items that are paid before we actually get to the closing table. Yes, there are down payment assistance program in Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, probably every state in the union. There's some type of down payment assistance programs available for you. So what we do here is when I look at an application, I tell people this is easy. The hardest thing about the application is nothing. You just have to have a job. Okay. So if you have employment and your employment is stable, that means you are working your 40 hours a week. You are not saying, oh, I'm going home early today because I just want to go home early because they offered it to us. Well, if you're going to buy a house, stop that. Start working your 40 hours a week, work your overtime, do all you can to build your income. But most of all, don't do a bunch of job changing. Employment is one of the main things that a lender looks at, and every lender looks at employment because what? You have to have the ability to repay the debt. And repaying the debt, your income must be stable. That's why I say if you have a 40-hour a week job, then you need to work that 40 hours a week. And don't get involved in saying, oh, I'm going to take off because they offered it there. Let everybody else on the shift take off. And you take off last. Let your name be the last one called for that. And so I encourage you to work your 40 hours a week. Don't miss work. If you have sick pay, take the sick pay, take the vacation if you're off, because what we've been running into now is variable income. People are offered 40 hours a week, but guess what? They don't work the 40 hours. And a lot of them have sick time or vacation time they could actually take while they're off sick or off for a death in the family, or just sometimes we just don't want to go to work that day. But take those days so you don't lose your 40-hour week pay. Okay. Income, stable, reoccurring, not anything that we work a few days, off a few days. Things that are used for income and getting qualified could also be non-traditional income. It could be your Social Security check. There are still plenty of seniors out here who have not owned a home or who are interested in buying up or buying down at this time, we use Social Security income, disability income. But again, that must be stable and reoccurring. So that is another source of income. Child support is a source of income. A lot of times people think you have to have a court order. Well, everybody didn't have to go to court. Some people resolved the relationship and they decided they were going to work together to take care of the child, be the absent parent. And so all you have to do is prove that you have been sending money or receiving money from the absent parent through your checking account, through your Cash App, through Venmo consistently. And we'll use that as income. But if you have an order, of course, we'll use the order as well. So those are a couple things. Dividend income. Some people have dividends from their savings that they've saved up over a period of time. And most of the time we see this in seniors area. They have that dividend income coming off of their 401ks, their retirement. All those things are usable for income because guess what? It's going to continue for the next 3 years. Now, if you're using it off an annuity and you only have 6 months left, well, of course, they're not going to use it because you have to have at least a 2-year continuance left on that annuity. Okay. What about stable income from retirement? Yes, retirement, absolutely. I'm around the corner from retirement, and I know my income's going to be stable because Social Security right now is stable. I know we see a lot of hype on the news that it's going to go away, but they have plenty of money in that pot for us. Okay, so don't worry about that right now. Don't be worried and get yourself all hung up if we're going to have Social Security. And then you lose your life because you stress yourself out about it. It's something we're very far away from receiving. But yes, retirement income will be considered as a stable source of income. We look at your income. The next thing we do is we look at credit. Credit is important, but credit is the one thing that you can repair very quickly. If you have a credit score that may not be favorable to you, we send you, we look at your credit, we look and see what do you need to do, what do you need to stop doing, and we try to tell you. It normally can take place in 30 days. I've had people that take longer because they had more misused credit debt out there, and some of them want to pay it off. I've had a lady that took her 10 years, but she could have taken the easy way out area. She could have filed Chapter 7 and been done with it, but she decided to be a woman of her word. She made the debt, she paid it off. So I was honorable when she came back to get her loan done.
Right.
But there are other options. And as I say, people take them all the time. It's really up to the consumer what they want to do. Credit is, like I said, the easiest thing that can be corrected. And it can correct it really fast. If you have a low score and you have open credit debt, what you need to do is start paying your bills on time. If you pay them on time, stop charging on those credit cards, you will see an increase in your score in 30 days. Okay. Sometimes we need to lower the balance below 30% and then pay the card on time, not going in there, paying off everybody and closing it. Because when you close a debt, you stop the history. And the history is one of the most important things when they're calculating your score is how long have you had the debt? How long have you been a good steward over that debt? So that becomes very important when they're calculating your score out. But again, it's one of the easiest things to reconcile is your credit. Another thing, people have life. Life hits all of us, whether it's through sickness, loss of a job, loss of a child, loss of a parent. We all, in some shape, form, or fashion, or sometimes we just haven't been good stewards. And it's okay because that's the past. We can work on reconciling that credit now. And if that is your case, then what we do is sit down, give you a plan and say, I'll just use myself. Ruth, if you will bring this credit card down to 30%, which would be 150 of that 500, don't be late making the payment anymore. You'll see your score go up. And what happens, it goes up very quickly. I do recommend that when you do have derogatory credit, such as collection accounts, don't pay those first. Get with somebody who knows what they're doing with credit restoration. You can get with your lender. Of course, I know what I'm doing. I've been in here a few years. And I'll show you where you can build your score, not really quote unquote overlook the collection, but have a plan for the collection, because collection accounts can be paid off where? At the closing table. And if you pay them off before we go to closing, they update your credit report. It's going to do what? Pull down your credit score because now you've updated a derogatory account. So make sure you get with somebody. After credit, life hits us. Some people have to file Chapter 7, which is a bankruptcy. That's when you go to the courts and the court says, okay, we'll wipe out all of this debt, which is fine. It happens. FHA says 2 years from the date of that discharge, 24 months. So on your 25th month, you'll be eligible to use FHA financing to buy a house. Again, remember I said life happens to everybody. Or if you decide, oh, I want to pay my debts back, the court said a 7 is not what you're eligible for, and the courts will determine which one you're eligible for when you go before the judge. So you get into a 13. A 13 is perfectly fine. You're going to restructure everything, pay them all back at a certain percentage. You can buy a home then after you have a 12-month payment history into the bankruptcy plan, permission from the courts, but you have to use FHA financing. And most lenders would like for you to have some type of credit restored. And it could be non-traditional credit. Let's hit that real quick. Your rent, your utilities, your car insurance, how you pay your tithes to the church, anything trackable that is voluntarily being repaid, your automobile insurance, your home insurance, not home, your rentals insurance, your cell phone, internet programs, Netflix, Hulu. I could keep going on and on about those. All those things that you have a subscription to that you pay every month that are volunteer, you can do that. People have even used their savings pattern to show that every month I am putting away $100, and I have done this for the last 12 months, and it's volunteer, and it's not something that's coming out of my payroll. Okay. So we can work with non-traditional credit. I just closed somebody yesterday, and they only had non-traditional credit. Excellent rent history. They had utilities, and then they had their cable bill. And we were able to pull all of that history together to give them 3 non-traditional credit items, and they were able to close. Okay, so let's talk about money really quick. Money. We do need money. We all need money, and you're going to need money in this transaction. You need first money you need is earnest money. You need to be able to tell area, I earnestly want to seek after this property. Write me a contract, and here's a check for $500 to go towards securing that property. So it'll stop the showing so nobody else sweeps that underneath you because of that earnest money. Then she'll turn that in to the seller's side, sometimes her side of the attorney's office, while we pursue the finalizing the financing. The next thing you're going to need money for is your appraisal. There's very, very few properties that we close on that don't require an appraisal. An appraisal is a third-party fee that we pay out to an appraiser, whether you close or not. So we collect that on the front end. And if you're a veteran, the appraisal fee is $700. All other loans, it'll probably be about $675. Somebody just told me they're about to go up next year, the appraisers are. So we do collect that up front. Earnest money usually starts at $500, and I've seen it run up as high as 1% of the sales price area. So I've got somebody now, the sales price is $360, their earnest money is $3,600. Mm-hmm. Which is 1%, which is perfectly legal and fine. That just told the seller, hey, she really wants this house. Mm-hmm. She's willing to put that up. Then we have the appraisal fee, home inspection. Area will drive this home. If you cannot afford a home inspection, you really can't afford to buy a house.
Right, I agree.
So you need to have that done on the front end. Some properties are sculptures. They're beautiful on the outside, and once they get that magnifying glass on the inside, it is a disaster waiting to happen. Mm-hmm. And right now we're having these flash storms or whatever we had. I just had somebody flash storm, go back through the walk through. Guess what? The air conditioner wasn't working.
Oh, wow.
We're in Memphis, Tennessee. We need air. I don't care if FHA says, oh, it's a luxury. Well, we need that luxury, okay, mm-hmm. Here. And so the seller was able to get their air back up. He understood. Probably when the power went out, it probably knocked it out. Right. But it was already 15 years old. It probably was going to go out anyway. Good for my buyer. They were able to get a new unit. They're elderly. And so guess what? They're going in with security of having heating and air, at least for the next 10 to 15 years. So those are things that we have to have money for. We look at your debt to income ratio. A big thing still is the student loans. If you have a student loan, don't overlook it. It is not going anywhere. I've had people say, well, that student loan debt is 20 years old. We pulled a FHA case. They check your Social Security against the government. guess what? They still owe that student loan, and they would not close on that loan using FHA financing until when they cleared that debt. So we don't get to overlook them. If you're actively in school, we do have to count half FHA, half of the 1%, or 1% if you use conventional. But again, we can always get on an income-based repayment plan with your student loans, and sometimes they'll give you a zero payment. If they give you a zero payment, then we don't count anything in your debt to income ratio using conventional financing. Now, let's hop to some of the products real quick, and I'm going real fast, and so let me know if you have questions. We do offer FHA, VA, and conventional, but a lot of my loan products are using 100% financing. In the Memphis MSA, which is the areas, DeSoto County, Shelby County, Fayette County, Tipton County, we allow 100% financing. If your income is at least $73,200, you can get 100% financing, no MI. The seller can pay your closing costs. You only have to have $500 into the transaction. Also with that program, it's called Right at Home. If the property is in a low to moderate census tract, we will still allow you to have 100% financing, no income cap, and we will give you, Huntington will give you up to $5,500 to be used toward closing costs, okay? Also, we have, with the FHA and VA properties, we have subsidy available as well, up to $5,500. So if you're buying an FHA and you've been buying a house using FHA financing, we will give you up to $5,500. If you're doing a VA, the same way there. So we do help you with closing costs. FHA does require you have your own 3.5% down. There are down payment assistance both in Mississippi and in Tennessee, in Arkansas, that would help you. And they're all income based. So we would have to know what your income to see what you actually are eligible for to qualify. So right now in Memphis alone, if we used our $5,500 and you bought and used the city of Memphis, you could get up to $30,000 worth of subsidy, which would help you with your down payment, closing costs, and your prepaids. Okay. The same thing with Mississippi Home Corporation. They have money available. We combine with our up to $5,500. I've had a lot. My people yesterday, they had 1% into the transaction, which was $1,200, and they got back money because they had paid for their home inspection, and I gave them credit for that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So those are some good programs that we have available. I do advise everybody to get pre-qualified. There's nothing worse than out here. It's like having a nice pair of shoes and you get to the checkout, they were on the wrong rack. So you thought they were 75% off, and you get to the checkout and you find out they're not 75 off and they're $300, and you only plan to spend $100 for a pair of shoes. Think about it. You want to do that. Also, don't be ashamed of where you are, because home ownership could be temporal too. So you can be here now. This is the house note I can qualify for. You decide what you can afford, but have a plan. Okay, Ari, this is my starter house. Mm-hmm. So I'm starting at the note of $900 to $1,200 a month. But in 5 years, Ari, I'm coming back.
Right.
So be prepared for me. I'll be back. I'll have a larger down payment. Most likely the property would have built some equity, okay, because it normally does. And then guess what? I'll be ready then for a higher house note. Mm-hmm. Don't be house poor. I see this so often that people are house poor. You can't buy ice cream. You can't afford for anything not to stop working because you can't afford to get it fixed. And it's okay, because have a plan. I'm only going to be here 5 years, area. I'll be back in 5 years. Mm-hmm. Work that plan and work it out. Buyers, the time is now for you. We've been in a seller's market for a long time. I guess since like 2020. You think 2020? It's your season. It's your time. The sellers, I'm seeing more of them making contributions toward closing costs. I'm seeing more of them over these last couple of months. The prices of houses have gone down, not the value, but the price is going down. Mm-hmm. And so now we're moving into a realistic market. Yes, the rates were great in 2021, 22, but you overpaid for the house. So was it really great? You see what I'm saying? Was it really great? But now we're back down to a regular market. They're in their 6s. Some of our 100% are 7, but you're talking about 100% financing, no down payment, no MI. So yes, they would be a little bit higher. but don't let somebody else's nightmare interrupt your dream. I have tell people, you don't know. They don't always tell you the truth about what was going on in their life as they try to get you not to buy a house or wait to buy a house. Because I saw this on a podcast the other day. This is the last thing I'm going to say. The man said, I'm glad you don't want to buy a house because that gives me more rental properties to buy. I said, what? He said, yes, because you're going to do two things. You're either going to own a home or you're going to rent a home.
Absolutely.
And if you own the home, you're going to be building equity for yourself and your family. And if you rent a home, you're just going to be making him richer. I was like, oh my God, but that is the truth. Make your decision. Stick with it. Okay, Ariel, the Bible says, write the plan, write the vision, and make it plain.
Right, that's right.
Terry, I got to work through my credit issues. I'm carrying. I got to get stable on my job, get somewhere and sit down, quit changing jobs. That's my tarrying. I got to quit having overdrafts. That's my tarrying. So I'm working through the tarrying. So what? When the vision comes forth, it's gonna be for me.
Right.
So do that. Get yourself somewhere. Get you a pad. Get you a journal. If you're not ready, make yourself know when you're going to be ready for home ownership, not when somebody else decides, and get prepared. That's all I got today.
Ruth, that was very good. We appreciate that. We do. You did very good. And I was jotting down a few questions that I wanted to ask you while you was talking so that so our audience would know some of the answers is this. How long would you have to be on a job to purchase a home before you can get a loan approval?
Well, you cannot be in your 90-day work window. And a lot of it goes into consideration. Okay. So if you have just graduated from nursing school, right? You just have to have your contract saying you're going to get this many hours a week at this rate of pay and have 30 days of pay stubs to go with it.
Okay.
Right? Which is normally what? 2 check stubs, because most of the hospitals and stuff get paid every 2 weeks or bi-monthly. But if you are on a job and you've been there we look at a 24-month history of working. But if you've had 7 jobs in the last 24 months, okay, but in that last 7th job, you've been on it for at least 6 months, no interruption, then you should be eligible to get financing for conventional. FHA is a little bit more stricter. VA could be a little bit different. They still look at a 2-year work history.
Okay.
That's important. 2 years. History, not at the same job, but a 2-year work history.
History, absolutely.
Without a bunch of interrupts. Like if you work on this job January through June and you don't go back to work to next year in February, you've had a 6-month gap. You're going to have to be stable on that job for 12 months. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And my next question is, if you're a foreigner moving to the United States and you've been here for a while, you have not got complete citizenship, but you do have a Social Security number, what would be the options of your advance that you can maybe take advantage of purchasing a home?
Well, then you need the proper documentation.
Okay.
The right to work Social Security. You'll need some type of visa, or some people have that, not the EIN, I can't think of the name of it. I just had somebody with this. But they had all the documentation from the government that says, I have the right to be here in the United States. It's renewed. Your Visa card, a permanent residence, they'll take those as well. But you have to have proof of it.
Right, absolutely. And I know we don't have a crystal ball, but do you have an interest rate forecast as what may happen with the interest rate? You don't want to elaborate on that?
Well, I can't make a promise, but I can say this. If we see 3s again and 4s again in the low 5s, we will be facing another tragedy as COVID.
Okay.
So those are some things we don't want to face again.
Right.
The market has returned to pre-COVID. So we're just back where we were. So they project, they did this last year too, that we would be in the 5.5s and the low 6s. Right. Where we only hit them for a little small span. And now we've gone back up. But we're in this is what, third quarter. So we still have another month of third quarter to finish out, and then we'll go in for our last quarter in October. So we'll just kind of wait and see. But it's still rent increased. Some of these people increased their rent 18, 20%, 25%. It's still cheaper
Oh,
buying
yeah.
a home because guess what? That interest that you pay through the year, if you file a tax return, you should be able to deduct that.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so we go in from there. But yeah,
Okay.
I can't, I don't have a, I wish I did. I
Yes.
wish we could have threes again. I would get one myself, okay? But we can't have that and have a normal world too.
Right, absolutely. That
Yeah,
was a good answer. And
yeah.
another thing that caught my interest was the non-traditional lines of credit that you can consider, and that included even paying your tithes in church. If you, as long as you got a consistent history, then you can consider that as a non-traditional line. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Most churches have some tracking record that shows that every month area has been given $100.
Uh-huh.
$100. And so you're able to get that from your church. There's an app called Givelify. They're able to print that out from Givelify. Or you can just pull out your own bank statements and show that here's my 12 months bank statements. This is where I've been giving every 12 months to my church. I
Right.
know. That's
Oh,
kind of good, isn't it? So that's another benefit of being a tither is that you can use
absolutely.
that for non-traditional credit.
Right,
A
absolutely.
daycare. I didn't say this, but daycare can be one too. Or adult care. Because some
Okay.
people are taking care of their adult parents or
Uh-huh.
their adult children who have special needs. That
Hmm.
can be some use as well. Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
So it's something, as long as you're paying it consistently on time each month, then it can
Yes,
be
ma'am.
used. Okay, that is wonderful. And
Mm-hmm.
it's good to know that you're never too old to purchase a
Oh
home.
no. Mm-mm.
Never
Never,
too old. I think a
never.
long time ago I sold the lady a house was in her 90s. So that's
Oh,
that's
for
really
real?
good. Yes,
Now you outdid me. Mr. Red was 75.
uh-huh. But she was actually getting it for her grandson. So it all worked out good. It was a
Right.
generational wealth that she was able to hand down to her grandson.
Oh,
So
that was sweet.
with a person that purchasing a home, do you have to be at least 18 or 21?
Uh, 18. Both states
18.
now. See,
Okay, good.
Mississippi was 21, but now we're both states are 18.
Okay,
18.
good.
And we
Okay.
will use your high school diploma as your 2-year work history.
Oh, wow. That is great. Good information. And the next question is that right at home assistant that you all have in this, you said $73,000 income. Can that be combined between a husband and wife, or it has to be one individual that has to make that $73,000?
Okay, no, it's not household, it's applicant.
Is
Whoever's
that
on the applicant
uh-huh.
cannot jointly together, that income cannot exceed 73,200.
Okay.
Or just the applicant only, it's 73,200.
I
So
got
just say I'm the applicant and I make 72,000 a year, but my husband makes 100 and he's not on the application, I would still be eligible for the program.
Oh, I see.
Even
Okay.
though our household income would be over 170, we would
Uh-huh.
be past that, but he's not on the
But
application.
it's only the applicant, not the
Yes,
household.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
That is
ma'am. Yes,
great.
ma'am.
That,
Yes,
that's good.
I do a lot of those loans. And
Okay.
like sometimes if they have at least a 640 credit score and their debt to income ratio falls within the requirement, yes, even though they don't get an instant approval, because we have people like now, somebody now I'm working with, they didn't get an FHA approval.
Uh-huh.
But they're under 73,200, their debt to income works out. So we're pushing them there and they get a manual underwrite. We're going to underwrite them manually. So
Okay,
yes,
good.
ma'am.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, audience, we have had some good information. Ruth has given us a lot of good information. I want to check and see, does anyone have any questions for Ruth or myself?
There's one question. How much money can one afford with $1,000 available for house payment? And what is a good guideline when identifying affordability?
Affordability is normally 33% for the house note of your gross income and up to 45% of the gross income, which is the house note and all reoccurring debt. So let me look this up. So if I make $1,000, 1 second, and 33% of that is $330. Okay. That's the most my housing payment can be. Okay. So that's 330. But I got a back end ratio. So I take $1,000 and I multiply that by 45%. And I use 45%. Sometimes we can go up higher, but most of the DPAs or the 100%, they have a cap of 45%. So that's $450. So $450 minus 330, that means I can only have $120 of debt credit cards, card notes, student loans a month, not living expenses, not utilities, not insurance, not cell phone bills, just true credit debt. I hope that made sense.
Okay, the income was, I said $1,000 supposed to be $4,000. So the
Oh, okay.
question was, how much money can one afford with $4,000 available for a house payment?
Okay. Okay. I got you. So 4,000, the note can't go over 1,320. And the debt can exceed $480. That's 33 and a 45% DTI. So at $1,300, you're probably looking at a house note maybe about 145, sales price 145, 150. Depends on the insurance and taxes, and those are calculated into the debt to income ratio considered with the note. So, like Area said, if you're going to go into the 200s, you're going to need to be able to qualify at least, if you go into 200, be settled for a house note at least $2,000. 18, would you say, Area? That's what I've been seeing, anywhere from 1,800 to 2,000. Some of them have hit 21.
Yes.
Yeah. And at 360, I'm looking at house notes at $2,800.
Mm-hmm. That's
So,
absolutely correct.
mm-hmm. Did that answer them, Thomas?
If I believe so, if not, could the person please put in the chat? And I have someone that wants to do a scenario. If they decided to buy their first home, who do they call first, the real estate agent or the lender?
If they want to purchase their first home,
Yes, who do they contact first, the real estate agent or the lender?
it's always good to talk with the lender first.
Once the lender gets them pre-qualified, we send, like, if she called from here and I would say, where did you get my name and number? And she would say, from this broadcast, I would already know that once I got her pre-qualified, I would highly recommend that she go back to Area, because Area is the one who provided the information. Area is an excellent real estate agent. She's not going to lead you wrong. She is, I mean, of course, none of us are nonprofit, okay? Right. But she, at the end of the day, she's not going to put her needs before your needs. Mm-hmm. Follow me? She's going to make sure the house is in good shape. If the seller said they were going to do ABC, Area's not going to the table until that ABC is done. That's the repair, correct. The whatever. And if they say they're going to pay whatever, Area's going to make sure. And I've done business with her for several years, and I've not seen one time where I saw that Area was putting her needs before her customer. And that's one reason why I do refer customers to her. When I have somebody who's looking to buy a home and they need a realtor, yes, she's on my checklist. Yes.
So you would definitely call the loan officer first so that you can get your roadmap to preparing to purchase the home and know what price range you're going to be looking at. And it's very good too. And like she said, we've worked together a lot of times and did a lot of deals, and I highly recommend her. So talking to Ruth before you talk to me is very good. And she'll put you on the roadmap, is know how much you can get pre-approved for, how much your mortgage is going to be, and you can feel comfortable going out into an area that you can qualify for. So we don't want to be showing you houses for $300,000 and you don't have a pre-approval, and then you get a pre-approval and then you realize you only qualify for $200,000. That's very disappointing to a buyer. So we don't want you to do that.
No, not at all.
Right.
Mary, one thing I didn't say that I'm thinking about when we're talking about that is that, we have to make sure insurance has been like something that's given me a lot of not a black eye, but almost a black eye here lately, is the insurance has really gone up. And I think it's because of all the catastrophe that we have had over the last few years. And so we need to make sure that we can get insurance. I've had people who didn't have car insurance and made it very difficult to get homeowners insurance. But of course, we work till we got it worked out. Mm-hmm. Also, be able to download your documentation, W-2s, pay stubs, awards letters, bank statements, ID, things of that nature, so that when you do get something and get started getting pre-qualified, you'll be able to provide the documentation. That's one thing to tell me something. There's another thing for it to actually be true with the documentation to support it. Now, I've had letdowns with that before. They say they make $10 and they make $9.85. That 15 cents can kill a deal. So make sure we be able to download your information to your lender.
And when she say download, sometimes taking a picture of a document doesn't suffice. You may have to have it and change it, convert it to a PDF. But I've had people that send lenders pictures, and the lenders can't do anything with it because they need it in another format. So just be sure that you're following her orders in reference to, or her advice in reference to what format she needs the documents.
Yes. A lot of companies now, they have the W-2 and pay stub in a PDF form. Now, sometimes, we can take a photo, and if I'm able to convert it to a PDF, most definitely will I help the customer do that. But there are times you take it and the picture is way over here, or it's distorted, or your hands is in it. That's a picture and I can't take that out. So that would be me altering the document. So we do have to be careful of that.
Absolutely. Does anyone else have any questions?
One final question: for a $300,000 house, how much would the mortgage payment look like? How much would the mortgage payment like to be?
I would say at least 2,100 and higher. Depends on the property taxes and how much the insurance is going to be. At least minimum. I had a couple not too long ago. They wanted a 460, but they didn't want the note. The note was 3,600. They didn't want the note to go with it. So that's the good thing about getting qualified and getting a realistic expectation of what you're looking for. And I, explained, if you're going to go to the 400s, you might as well get ready to swallow this $3,600 payment, because it's going to at least be that much. Yeah.
And I totally agree with Ruth, getting your qualification first, because I've had clients that would want a $2,000 note, but they want to look at houses at 350, 400,000, and they, being realistic and knowing exactly how much you can get pre-approved for is so important. And it helps you, and it helps the realtor, it helps the process, because once you go out and see houses that are more expensive, it feels like a very big disappointment that you can't afford those houses. So your pre-approval is very, very important.
I agree. I agree. And hurry up getting the documentation in. By law, we don't have a choice but to complete the application with the information you provided. So you may have put it in there to qualify for that, but I'll send Area and yourself a pre-qualification, and I'll say, Area, I need help getting the documentation so we can validate this. And then when I do get the information and come to find out, I got to go back. But she's taking you to see a couple $300,000 houses. You're not going to be satisfied at 175, 210, 215. And it makes it very difficult for her to do her job efficiently. But she gets it done.
Right.
You get it done. I promise you do.
Absolutely. And then looking on Zillow to get an estimate of how much your mortgage payment is going to be, that can be something that can be very discouraging too. You really want to talk with the loan officer.
Yes, ma'am. And it's always best to try to have somebody. I know people use internet sources, but it's always good to be able to go into your facility. Use a local lender. Use a local lender that you can get the information from. That's important.
Yes. That is very important. And another thing is that if you don't use a local lender, you're using a lender that you found on the internet, they may not have the benefits that's available for you in the area. So they may not have the benefits that's available that Ruth can provide for you, that what's available in Mississippi, and they may be in California or some places. So using a local lender is very important. And
or they can't have access to the down payment assistance programs.
Absolutely. That's right. That's correct. That's all the things that we experience when people do that in the process. So we want to give you all some nuggets that can help you so that you will not do the same thing.
That's right. And another thing that I've seen, that a lot of times when the lenders aren't local, when the real estate person has a lot of trouble getting information from them. making it hard for you to do your job, which I think
Right.
is unfair because I need to give you the letter, what I think taxes are going to be, what I need insurance is going to be. So you'll be able to locate and negotiate what they're qualified for. So
Right.
yeah,
Absolutely.
be aware of that.
Yes.
I had one final question to come through. What about custom built homes? Would the process still be the same?
Well, it depends. If they own the land and they want to have a custom built themselves, then we build at it's called a one-time construction, and we build at 80% loan value, okay, the value of the house. Or if you've owned the lot for 12 consecutive months, whether you're paying for it, grandma gave it to you, we can go up to the 90%, but it just depends. Also, custom build requires you to have that money down for a down payment. So it's 20% down, whether it's equity or real cash. And anything over, they call it overbuild. So if you build a $400,000, $500,000 house and your loan amount is going to be $400,000, you would need $40,000 liquidable assets in case your builder ran off to complete the house. And that's another thing. They cannot be your 401k. So that would have to be money at the table. But there are builders that build homes that qualify for for that. So you don't have to have your own construction loan, and that property has to be completed in 90 days unless it's a certain square footage. Each one of them is done differently. So it's costly to have be prepared. Just be prepared. You do need at least a 700 credit score to build there. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other questions? Okay, if there's no other questions, we want to thank you all for tuning in today. Ruth, we want to thank you for joining us. This has been a good day, a lot of information. So if you all are looking to purchase a home, call Ruth first, get your loan pre-approval, and then call me, and then we can get you into your new home. We are really appreciate it, Ruth. There's a message that Ruth covered everything thoroughly. We appreciate that. Thank you. And we'll have Ruth back on again. So we definitely will ask her to come back on again because she always give us a lot of good information. Her heart is really into helping people with financing and just giving you really good information. So we really do appreciate you all attending. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us.
Please. Thank you, Ariel, again for the opportunity. Thank you, listeners.
All right.